Okay, so let's start from something simple. I will take this one wheel and I will put it on the center of the scene because I want to export it, and it will be easier to work around the wheel if we will have it on the center of the scene. So you can center your pivot for this object and snap it to the center, freeze transformations and export it as a wheel low poly. Of course, I've done this before, so I will not do this time, but you can see it's saved here, wheel low poly obj. So we are choosing obj file. So after doing this, we can undo this operation, so we will have our wheel back into the correct position in the scene. So right now we will switch to Photoshop and we will start a Quixel suit, and I will run Dido. So first thing, we have to load our mesh, and this is our wheel low poly, of course, obj. Don't forget about material IDs. Let's load our normal map. Let's load our ambient occlusion map. And we can uncheck this for the normal map, flip Y, because we don't need this. We can bake object space normal in 3Do, we can bake position gradient in 3Do, and I also want to bake a curvature map in Dido because I don't have curvature map. So that's it. We can specify the resolution of the project. 2K is enough for this. In engine we will probably use a 1K texture. And ID preset, not important. And export target, I want to put everything later in Unreal Engine, so we will use Unreal Engine for RMA packet. You can see we've got albedo material, albedo texture, metalness, roughness, normal, and later I will add also a bump texture. And we can specify where to save our project and the name of the project. Okay, so let's create. It takes a little bit to create the project and bake all the maps, but it's not very long with this resolution. You can see it's done. We can start our project, and we have here our 3D window. You can see in the background we've got all these maps that we've loaded and that we've created. Full list you can see here. So we can turn on 3D to see our object. Of course, this window is a little bit too big. Let's explore really quickly all these options, maybe not all of them, but the most important and some of them that I will use the most. So of course you can turn on and off your background. Holding shift and right mouse button you can rotate the environment. You can turn on headlight if it's too dark for you. You can change intensity of the skylight. You can choose a different preset, and of course you can switch between all different textures: albedo, roughness, metalness, normal, ambient occlusion. You can do this by clicking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on your keyboard, and if you will press 2 times 1 you are going back to PBR shading. So it's pretty handy. And you can see we've got post-process on, and we can choose a different post-process. We have few presets to choose from. Let's go to a baking tab. You can see we've choose to bake a curvature map. This is how it looks. And here you can import some of the textures if you are not using Dido, for example, and you are using 3Do to just preview your model. Okay, one more thing. I will just go to this post-process and I will choose Unreal Engine, this first preset, 08, Unreal Engine 4, and I will use it, but you can see for me something is wrong here, and going to the options I will just turn off the shadows and ambient occlusion because it's doing something wrong, I think, and I feel like there are some glitches on my model, so I don't like it. I will just turn off these shadows and I will just turn off some of these options because I don't want for now to add any sharpness and something like this to my textures. I will leave simulate physics camera because I like it. I can just press tab to hide my background, and I will just slightly increase the intensity of the background. So this is a start for me. I can work with this kind of setup right now. You can play with all these options and set it however you like it, but I've tested by myself that these options are working for me, and when I will put everything later in Unreal, it will look pretty okay. So you can press a space to hide all these options, so we will have more space to work. Let me set this window somewhere here because I would like to see also my layers sometimes here in Photoshop. Okay, so let's bring this blooming effect a little bit down and we will move forward. We will create a basic material. This will be a rubber synthetic. And we will group this and set an ID for the tire. And of course, I am starting editing this. I will bring the scale a little bit down, and right now the roughness to 100, and for albedo texture intensity I want to be a little bit lower. So this is a basic tire start. Right now I would like to duplicate this material because I want to create some lighter edges. So first I am changing reflectance color to a little bit brighter. And now of course we have to edit Dynamask. And we will choose edges or something like this. We can of course use show mask. Okay, I've changed my mind. We will use sharp edges instead of edges because it will be easier to adjust the settings and we will get better results. We have to just increase contrast and tweak few other things. Of course, because now our curvature map is not perfect, we will have some glitches. So you should make sure that you don't have any problems with your curvature, because later you will have to manually adjust or remove glitches like here. Before you will start painting, make sure that under performance you have undo checked on and you increase the number of the undos, because if you will not do this, you just basically can't use Ctrl Z. So right now you can see I am able to remove these white areas that are problematic, that I don't want. Of course, we have to do this around the tire, but I will not be cruel and I will not let you watching this. You can see that I want some white edges, because we have also a little bit glitches here, and we've got a little option called fix seams to just fix seams and we don't have this ugly dark line where the seams are. Okay, so I will accept the changes and we will see right now how it looks with a PBR shader. I will just switch to the roughness, and we have to bring the reflectance of the roughness a little bit up, because I want also on the roughness some differences. So the effect is a little bit too heavy. So I'm trying to adjust all the values. Okay, so I will remove these glitches and actually you see I'm back and everything is fixed. So we can move forward. Right now I will just bring the darkness of the tire a little bit down. And let's add a little bit of dirt. This will be our first dirt pass, and we will use a sand material. And of course, let's change this sand a little bit. Right now, let's change the scale because it's too big. And the texture intensity we can also bring a little bit down for the albedo. And of course we have to create a mask. In this case, this will be a rich occlusion. And the effect is good, but we have to make it a little bit more stronger. So we can play with these post-process options to make it look however we want. In this case, I want to bring the white areas a little bit up. And it's pretty okay right now. I think the sand is pretty okay. Like I said, this is the first dirt pass. And let's click accept. And I would like to add some more sand dirt in these areas between the tire and the wheel. I choose a different brush. In Quixel Studio you can find many different brushes. You can rotate your alpha brush. And you can see I can of course remove a little bit of dirt. Okay, I think it's almost done. So now I would like to duplicate the first layer that we've created, and we will create some scratches on the side of the tire. Of course, I will change reflectance to a little bit darker color. And we have to create Dynamask. I will just choose a completely black mask. And now we are able to paint. And let's choose a different brush. Let's use something like this and we will see what results we will get. And of course, while painting on the side, I would like to have my perspective off. So when I press P and use different keys on the keyboard, I am able to rotate the object. So right now I have something like orthographic view from the side. And this way I'm able to paint a little bit better. And I've changed the brush type to a pen pressure, so I have more control. And side of the tire is very often in some places a little bit darker because of the scratches. So I am trying to achieve this effect right now. So it's not bad, but we have to make some changes. First, I will try to bring the reflectance a little bit up, but this is too much. It disappeared completely. So I think the effect right now is pretty okay. But I would like to blur our mask a little bit, and unfortunately in Dido we can't do this right now, but of course we've got layers in Photoshop, so I will just go and grab the layer with this mask, and I will just use a Photoshop blur tool, and this should work. And of course we have to go and do the same for the roughness layer. So it's not bad. I can live with this. So let's move forward. And let's create another material, and this will be still dirty material. Of course I will group it and set an ID, so we will have this material only on our wheel. I'm sorry, only on our rim. So the material is pretty bright. I would like to have less reflections, and of course we will have to add some dirt. And of course for dirt we are using a sand material, and I will choose rich occlusion. We'll make some adjustments to the ambient occlusion in the Dynamask editor. I would like to have a stronger effect. So we've got our sand, but I want to make a little bit difference to this sand, and I'm adding texture to the Dynamask. In Quixel you will find plenty of texture to use, and of course we can tweak some parameters, and already we can see some results. But I think I will just take a pencil and paint some of these areas. Of course, before painting you have to make sure that you have undo option check on, because otherwise you are unable to use Ctrl Z. So with a dirt brush we can tweak this sound a little bit more. Now this brush is a little bit too heavy for this. So for me this is pretty okay. Of course later probably I will add some rust to the steel, but for now I think it's okay. Okay, so I think we should move to the final part where I will just add some more dirt on our tire. We've created our first dirt pass using a sand material, and right now we will add a second material. So let's create a sand material again, and unfortunately I've done this in wrong group. This is a rim group, so we can use a move out and move in option to move materials from the one group to another. And you can see we have the sand material in the right group right now. Of course, let's bring the scale down. And of course we have to create Dynamask. I will use ridge occlusion and I will invert the result. I've unchecked the invert mask, and right now I want to make it very strong, so only the top elements on the tire are covered with the sand, but also we will have to go and manually paint the side of the tire. So let's choose a simple brush. Let's switch to orthographic view from the side, and let's cover this part of the tire with a black color. And of course we have to do the same on the other side. So it's pretty okay. Pressing P, we can go back to perspective view. And I would like to make a few changes to this sand. Of course, turn down the texture intensity and make some changes to the color. And finally, I am able to add asphalt material, and I am adding it just because I want some details on the normal map and the roughness map. So you can see I am turning off opacity on the albedo layer and on the metalness texture. And I am able to copy a mask from our sand to our asphalt material. So I will get this asphalt material only on the places where the sand is. So right now you can see I've got this effect almost done, and I'm able right now to change the scale and the texture intensity, because it should be a little bit less visible. Right now you can see this effect on the normal map. So I will just experiment a little bit with this. And I would like to add also a little bit of this bump effect to the other areas between. So I will use just a diffused brush and put some white spots on our mask. Of course, we can add this also on the side. So I think we are close to the end. It's not the best tire on the planet, but I am happy with the result. Of course, like I said, we will add probably some rust to the rim later. Of course, right now we are using the Unreal preset in post-process, but it's good to check also how it looks in the default preset. Right now I've changed the color of this first sand dirt to a little bit brighter, so it's more visible right now. And let's change the post-process to a clear. Yeah, I think it's good enough. At the end we have to export our textures, so we are clicking open the exporter. We have here a path to our project. Here we can type a name. Here is the extension for the texture, and here is the extension for the file. We are able to choose smaller textures that we've created and use a sharper, for example, filter, but in our case 100% is okay. And the export target is Unreal Engine 4 packet, and let's click export. After everything is done, we can find our textures in the file project. Wheel A will be for albedo, this is our model. Wheel N is for normal map, and in wheel R we can find, let's open this. In blue channel we've got our ambient occlusion, in green channel we've got our metalness, and in red channel we've got our roughness texture. So 3 textures in one file, because for game engine is more optimized. So that's it. Thank you for watching.